Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is the second video in which we are integrating ASP.NET Core application with Azure AI Foundry, and we are using MCP server for that. In our last video, we created a new user account form, and once that form is submitted, we are storing that information in Azure Storage Table. In today's video, we will create a similar form, but in this time, we will display information in a web form. So this information is coming from the storage account we used in the last video. For the viewers who are watching this video for the first time, we have created a ASP.NET Core application, and once this form is submitted, we are calling an Azure Foundry agent. I have created an Azure AI Foundry agent which is connected to the MCP server, and then we have an MCP server tool which takes that information and store that in Azure Storage Table. So in the last video, we learned how can we submit this information from the ASP.NET Core application to the Azure Storage Table. But in today's video, we will do the other way around. We will fetch information from the Azure Storage Table and display on the ASP.NET application. So let's get started. Okay, I have opened my solution and we already have few projects created, which we have been using in the last many videos. Let's create a branch first. Okay, we need an MCP tool first. So we already have a users management tool, and there is one existing tool which is just creates a new user, but now we need another one which will return a list of all users. So simply copy that. There just one line description. There will be no parameters, so we can delete all these. And this would be a list. And we can use this entity to return it. And let's go into this method. So this is a user management service, which we already have in in services section. So we have one method which creates a new user, but now we are going to create another one which will return a list of users. So I'm going to create a new method here. So the method name is get all users, and we don't need to pass this. It's optional. I'm just removing this. And that should return list of all users. I'm putting a breakpoint here. And from here, I can call that method. It's now ready. Let's make it a starter project and run it. So it's running on port 5153. I'm connecting to local, and my local environment is running on 5153. I'm saying connect, and I have my tool available, get all users. And I click on run, hits the breakpoint. It returns only one user. Let's have a look at the users list. And we have only one user. And that is what's being returning here. So the MCP tool is now fine. Now let's publish it. Okay, so the tool is running. So if I go to Postman and switch it to Azure, disconnect this one, connect the Azure resource, and I can get a list of all tools available. I'm selecting get all users and say run, and it gives me that user. Okay, so that looks good. Now make some changes in the MCP tool. The MCP tool we had, it says there is only one tool, but now we have created another one. So what we will need to do is just copy this URL. So this is the URL of the web app, this web app, and delete that. Click on MCP server, paste the URL here. No authentication, and we need create new user account and also need get all users. Click on create tool, update agent. Okay, so the agent has been updated. Let's try with some different prompts. Okay, so there was only one user, and we got the user back, and you can clearly see that a call was made to the MCP tool. So that is now working. So the next thing we need to do is we have to call this Foundry agent from the web application. So let me run the web application we have. So we have a sign up page where we can create different user accounts. Let's create a new page, which would be get all users. Okay, let's declare a public property. That will be list of. Let me have a look. What's the name? Yeah, so we can use this one, or maybe we can create a new one. Let me rename this. So I can call it user account model. We can have a list of that. So we also need user management agent. This user management agent is defined in the agent section. So that's a user management agent, and also needs to be registered in here, user management agent in the startup file. Okay, so we get the instance of user management agent. So we need to create a method called get all users in the users management agent. So let's create a method here. Okay, we are saying please give me a list of all users, and just put a breakpoint here and let's run it. Before that, we have to add this in the navigation. So that is list of all users, and so that would be async and ask. Let's run it. Go to get all users. And this is how we call the agent. We have the agent ID, and then we have created a thread, and then we are getting the agent based on the ID. And after that, whatever we prompt we had, we are passing that prompt as a user, and then we creating a run. So when run is created, it has multiple status. So then we are checking the status here, if it is queued or it is in progress or it requires an action. So I get the current run, and the status of that current run is requires an action. And we can just approve that action. So this is all I explained in the video number 1, the previous video. If you need that help, you can check in the channel or ask me. I will provide a link in the comments. So I explain all that in details. Okay, now the status is completed. We exit from the loop, and then we are getting what was the message returned by the agent. So the response received is this one. Currently, there is only one user, which is fine. But the problem with that is we have to display this on the web form. So we are expecting this to be in the form of JSON, just like this. So this is returning JSON as a string, so we can simply parse it. But the response we got is a text. We can't parse it. One option for us is to just display like this. Other option and the better option would be we parse the JSON. So let me stop this now. So where we define the prompt. So give me a list of all users and make sure you return me raw JSON. I have to parse the return JSON. Let's run it again. Okay, so it returned us a JSON, but also added this extra text. We need to modify the prompt again. We can say, please don't add any extra text or formatting. So now it should just return us a JSON, just like an API returns a JSON. Okay, if I now look at the response, this is a complete JSON, and just like API returns a JSON, and now we can simply parse it. So that part looks good now. Okay, so once we receive this JSON, we have to parse it, and let's parse it now. Okay, so once we get this, we can assign this to the users we created. So once we have this users list, we have to write some HTML so we can display it. So I will go to DeepSeek, and I will say I have a user's entity user model like this. So we can display full name, email address, and phone number. We don't need to display the passwords. So I said I have these properties. Okay, so I'm saying I need to display a list of all users in a .NET Razor page. Please give me a Razor markup. Okay, let's copy that. Go to get all users and paste it here. We don't need this. Okay, I think that's it. Let's simply run it. So we got that users JSON and then we are parsing it. So we got one user account, but all the properties are empty. The reason for that is, see this full name, this is camel case, but the class we had, it is in a different case. So we have to write something here. So that would be new JSON serializer options, property naming policy. So that would be camel case. And now I can see all those properties. We don't need password, but that's fine. And if I just continue, it displays the user one. So if I look at my storage account, I only have one user. So let's create few more users so we can display them on a page. So the we have is a user one. Let's start with user two. Okay, so the user two has been created. Let's have a look at the storage account. If I just refresh, so I see two users here. I can also see two users here. So now we have learned how can we get a list of all users from that Azure AI Foundry. So let's quickly recap what we did so far. So first we created a tool. We already have a user management tool. So we created a new tool which just go to that storage account and gets a list of all users. So once we had this tool, we deployed in Postman and tested it here. So once we got it working, then we modified the user management agent. We deleted this MCP tool and then added it again. If I scroll down, so we already had the create new user account tool available. We added a new one, which is get all users. And then we created a new web page for get all users. And on the load of that We are calling that user management agent and calling the getOutUser method. So the most important part here is prompt. If we don't specify, if we just say, please give me a list of all users, it will return us a user, but that it might add some extra text at front or at the end. So we had to make sure that whenever this tool returns something, it needs to be a proper JSON. So we added all this in prompt. And then we call the agent. So once this agent returns us a response, we pass that response into a list and just display it on the web page. Okay, so now in previous video we worked how we can create a new user. So that was communication from a web page to the Azure AI Foundry agent. In this video we learned how can we read information from the Azure storage and send it back to the web page via the Azure Foundry agent. So now we have covered two ways of communication. So in the next video, what we can do is we can create a sign-in form. We already have user's account. We can create a sign-in form where user can type user ID and password, and then we can say this user is authenticated or not. So that will cover two-way communication in one demo that we will be doing in the next video. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please write a comment, please like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. I have done my effort. Now it's your time to do your effort. Please subscribe to my channel and see you again. Bye bye.